Hey Monies, welcome to the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast. I'm your host, Victoria L. Johnson, and I'm here with Cheslie Kryst. She's also an attorney, correspondent for Extra, and founder of the fashion blog White Collar Glam, dedicated to helping women dress professionally in white collar jobs. I'm super excited to have her on the podcast. Hey Cheslie.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
I am excited you're here. This is awesome.
It's gonna be fun. I haven't talked about Sailor Moon in I don't even know how long.
Yay! Well, you're in the right place. You can talk all you want about Sailor Moon. So what's your first memory of watching Sailor Moon?
Oh my gosh. It's so hard to say because I feel like I watched it when I was so young. A lot of my memories of it are so fuzzy. But I remember watching it with my older sister, Paige, and she and I would like watch Sailor Moon together, and it was one of those things you got to do as sisters.
Yeah, that's so cool. Do you remember like what you're feeling, what you're thinking while you're watching?
I just remember being in awe and being enamored by everything that they were doing, especially when they went through their transformations and you got to see like their nails change and they'd hold their little like half scepter things. Like everything about it was so cool. And I just remember being fascinated by like the colors, by what they were wearing, by, like I said, their transformations, and just loved having this really cool series that was just all about women and girls. And I don't remember, I mean, like I would also watch like Yu-Gi-Oh with my little brothers, but it was cool to have like a series just for us.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing that stuck out to me too. It felt like the first time I really got a show that was like specifically made to be like girly and powerful at the same time.
Exactly.
Did you have a favorite Sailor Senshi or Scout?
It's so hard to pick one, especially because like there are certain things that I like about all of them, but the one I feel like I identify the most with is probably Sailor Jupiter, because I loved, like I said, loved watching her transformation. But there was just something about her that I just felt like, like there was I don't know, a sort of paired soul there. And that like she always seemed like a really powerful person. She seemed like she was really courageous. I liked that her uniform was a little different. I mean, obviously not everybody has the like knee-high boots that Sailor Moon would wear, but there's some that have like the pumps and little like cute wraparound shoes. But like Sailor Jupiter was like, no, I'm gonna have my little boots that are kind of like a little masculine or tomboyish or whatever, and I loved that about her.
That's so true. I still am looking out for it. I really want them to do a Sailor Moon shoes collection at some point. Like I would buy all of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I want Mars's red pumps. I want Jupiter's boots. Why
Who was
haven't they done
the
this
wraparound, the orange? Who was that? No, that wasn't Mars.
yet? Oh, Venus, yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Venus, yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, so many good memories. Do you remember any specific moments or episodes?
Now
I
I
know it
wish
was a while ago.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that too just before I jumped on here. I was like, God, I wish I could remember like parts of it that were really cool. But I was like Googling a little bit. And it was like a walk down memory lane, like seeing the little black cat and seeing the guy
Yeah.
top cat, or sorry, the top hat.
Mhm.
All of it was just really cool. But like I said, like all my memories of it are so fuzzy. It's just one of those things that you remember and you just associate a good feeling with it. Uh,
Yeah.
that's really what it was and what it still sort of is for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. That's one thing that's been constant through my life. It's just like I've approached Sailor Moon different ways, like from when I was younger to when like I rewatched it later on, but I always like associate this good feeling with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. And that's sort of how I remember it. It's just like it's like a blob, but it's a good blob.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like a fuzzy, beautiful
Exactly.
blob of goodness. I like it. So about you a little bit, how did you start your journey into pageantry?
So my mom actually, she was Mrs. North Carolina US 2002. So she won a pageant for married women when I was like 10 or 11, I would
Mhm.
say. And so in my youth, I remember my mom being this like hero to me. She would visit our schools. She would do like autograph cards. She would sing the national anthem. She would talk about her platform, which was like volunteering in your children's schools. And I remember, like, I never competed when I was a kid, not until I was like in, I don't know, high school, I guess.
Mhm.
But I think seeing her be that person when I was younger, sort of ingrained like into me, into my mind that this is incredible to do, and you get so many cool opportunities by competing in pageants. And so I knew at some point in time I was going to compete.
That's cool. That's awesome. And how did it feel once you like years later won Miss USA?
It's indescribable. It's one of those things like how people daydream about, I don't know, getting their dream job or winning the lottery. And you sort of think while you're in that daydream what it would feel like and how you would look and how you would respond. Actually having that moment is exactly the way that you daydream it because I remember when they called my state, North Carolina, and I realized that I won. I just remember thinking like, wow, this is just as I thought it would be. Just as
Yeah. I feel like it's another like blob of goodness, just like it was like a whir of goodness,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, it really is. They play the video usually when I do interviews, like on the
Mhm.
news, whatever. They kept playing the video, and it was hard to even remember the
Yeah.
feeling. You sort of see it, and you're like, yeah, I remember that.
Right. I imagine like you're looking at yourself like that was me, but I don't quite remember, but it was
Yeah, no,
me.
for the first like few months or something, it's a really vivid memory. But after that,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I did that one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That one amazing thing.
Yeah.
Um, and you're also a lawyer. What made you decide to become a lawyer?
That was something that I don't know. That sort of was probably always in the path for me.
Mhm.
And that like when I was younger, I was the one always like speaking up on behalf of my siblings and representing them in like whenever we would get in trouble with our parents. Like, if we broke a window or something, I was the one to call mom and say like, we broke a window but nobody's hurt, so you don't need to be mad when you come home. That was always me. And so when
Mhm.
I got to high school, I was thinking about a career in politics. And I remember looking up, the Supreme Court justices and thinking like maybe one day I'll be a justice or a judge. And to get there, you got to go to law school. And so I was like, oh, I'll go to law school. I don't still want those same things, but I'm glad that I did become an attorney.
Yeah, that's cool. And I saw you did some pro bono work too with the Brittany K. Barnett with the Buried Alive project.
Yes,
Um, that was really cool too. And just for anyone listening, like they're mostly famous for releasing or releasing Alice Marie Johnson with Kim Kardashian West, plus a bunch of other amazing work they've done. How was it
yes.
like working with them?
Oh, it was incredible. I worked primarily with Brittany Barnett, but Brittany often works also with my angel Cody of the Decarceration Project. And, like you said, Brittany Barnett, her Buried Alive project, rescues so many people across this country. I say rescue because when you are treated unjustly by our justice system, you need rescuing. You need somebody to pull you out from a justice system that has thrown you away, essentially. And I'm glad that Brittany started her organization, the Buried Alive Project. And I'm glad that she's gotten more visibility because of her work with Kim Kardashian. But, it is Brittany. She's like the legal mind. She's the brilliance behind all of that. And we actually started working together sort of by like just a random fluke. My stepdad is also an attorney,
Mhm.
and he'd done some pro bono work through Barack Obama's clemency project that
Mhm.
he was running while he was president. And so my stepdad continued doing pro bono work even when um, President Barack Obama's term ended. And when I graduated from law school, I was like, I want to do pro bono work. Can I do some with you? And he's like, yes. We had this case. And the attorneys in my firm knew that I was doing this case. Like, we were arguing on behalf of a low level drug offender. And so Brittany, who I believe is licensed in Texas, needed a North Carolina attorney to sponsor a petition that she was filing on behalf of our client, Alfred Rivera, or our
Mhm.
eventual client. And so I think she just knew somebody at the firm and emailed them, was like, do you know anybody who does this kind of work, who can help us out, who can sponsor this petition? And the attorneys at my firm knew about the other case that I was working on. So they're like, Cheslie, do you want to do this? Yeah, Brittany Barnett. So it was great. It was great to be able to work with her. And I was glad that we were successful in getting our client released.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's so inspiring.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
She is a really inspiring person. And I think the
yeah,
work she does is incredible.
yeah. And I'm happy she's getting the credit for it too.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. And what inspired you to start White Collar Glam?
Uh, actually started it because when I was in law school,
Mhm.
I competed on our trial team. It was called AAJ, one of the teams that we
Mhm.
had, and we won our regional competition, advanced to nationals. When we got to nationals, I didn't have enough suits. Well, I had enough suits, but like something kept happening to every single one of them. I sweated through one of them. One of them I ripped all the way up the back of the skirt, and another one of them was too big. And I just remember feeling desperate and feeling insecure, knowing that like all my teammates were able to focus on the competition, but I was the one without a suit because I didn't even know where to get one. I remember I remember our trial team coach coming up to me and being like, "Okay, I can take you to Brooks Brothers," and I was like, "Those are like $1,000 suits. Like, who has $1,000?"
Yeah.
And so he was like, "I'll buy it for you." I was like, "I can't let you do that." And so it was one of those moments where I was like, "Why am I so lost right now? I hate this." So when I graduated from law school, I started a blog so that I could answer those same questions for other women and ensure that they knew where to shop and how to get your clothes fitted. And they had somewhere to go to reference like do's and don'ts and figure out, how to dress for work.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly appreciate it because that's something like I struggled with, like entering the workforce, like being an intern like a few years ago, or more than a few years ago. And and then like you starting like a job, like what's professional, what's not, what should I wear, what's too much, what's business casual, and that's different in different offices. So it's definitely very helpful for me.
Yeah, I hope that it is because I think all of us have those questions, especially as the workforce continues to evolve and
Mhm.
dress codes and
Right.
it just continues to change over the years. And so I think it is important to have.
Yeah. Do you have any quarantine fashion tips for
Yes, so
meetings?
actually, yeah. I interviewed Rebecca Minkoff,
Mm.
who is a designer, a fashion designer for New York Fashion Week, and she said, I can't remember the term that she used, but she said zoom shoulders. You look for outfits that have like some sort of shoulder accent because since you're usually like waist up or chest up, all you can really see is like your upper chest and your shoulders. And so she was like, anything that you can do that has volume up here or, that's frilly or something or is really colorful is what you look for. And I really liked it. I thought it was a good rule to have. So that's sort of what I look for. Bright colors, a cool accented shoulder, just something that's interesting on camera.
Yeah, I see you with the off shoulder now too. I'm like, it is working. You're so right. Yes, I love it.
Yeah, just to make things interesting, add a little
Yeah,
spice.
yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it works. I believe it. Um, After Sailor Moon, did you ever get into any other anime?
So like I said, my brother watched
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh! He
Mhm.
watched Dragon Ball Z,
Right.
and I feel like there was probably another one that he liked to watch.
Maybe
And
Gundam.
you what?
Maybe Gundam.
That sounds familiar, but I don't remember watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember those two distinctly.
Right.
And when we grew up, like we had one TV in the house, it was downstairs in the living room. So
Mm-hmm.
my brothers wanted to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh! and so it was funny watching my brothers. Oh, and Pokemon was another one that we would all
Mm-hmm.
watch together. And it was cool watching my little brothers. So I have 4 little brothers, but the older 2 of those, they would play like Yu-Gi-Oh cards or Pokemon cards together. And the youngest one or the younger of those 2 was, I think he's 6 years younger than me. How old am I? I'm 29. He's 20. Yeah, he's 6 years younger than me. And so he was so young. He would play with these Yu-Gi-Oh cards before he could even read. So he would memorize all the powers on the cards so that he would have a chance to play against my
That is impressive, honestly.
deck of cards, and he'd be able to play because not because he could read, but because he'd just be like, Charizard, he has 500 power or whatever. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God, no. That is really impressive because even as a person who can read, I have to like look at the card every time and be like,
yeah,
what does this one do again?
yeah. Well, and if you couldn't, you would probably be able to remember it. I think
Hmm.
because that was the only option he had. He was supposed to remember it, but
Yeah.
like I would just never imagine putting in that much work and diligence to remember.
Yeah. That is great. That's so funny. And what else do you stand? So this could be like anything. Like it could be Beyonce, it could be a
Oh,
TV
okay, right.
show.
Beyonce. I'm a huge
Yeah.
Beyonce fan. Oh my gosh. And it was so funny. I was on TikTok the other day and somebody commented on one of my videos and said, "You look so much like Beyonce." And I was like, "I don't, but I'm going to make a video about this just so that I can mention Beyonce." And
Yes.
She's just incredible. I think she's an incredible businesswoman. She's so successful. And I think she clearly demonstrates to a lot of people that you don't have to sacrifice your power in order to still enjoy family, because I think a lot of people think that you have to choose one or the other if you're a woman. And I love that she doesn't. She's like, I can have both. Here, I'll show you. I also love that, like, she's so private, and I think that adds to like the mystery around her and the excitement around Beyonce. It's like, we never get to talk to you. What are you doing today? How's your family? Are you gonna post? When she posts on Instagram, she never posts with like captions. But even though she's very private, she and Jay will speak up when it's time to speak up. Like, we've heard a lot from her. You know, when the George Floyd incident happened, when Breonna Taylor was murdered, when Ahmaud Arbery was murdered, and you know, we saw all this unrest, and Beyonce's voice emerged as somebody who was fighting on our behalf, both donating, advocating, you know, calling local officials. All of that was really important. So there's so much that I admire about Beyonce, aside from, you know, just seeing her in concert and her music, which is also great, but also just her as a person is really cool.
Have you been to a concert?
Of course I have. Like, I haven't been to that many concerts in my life. I think I've only been to 3 in my entire life, and 2 of them were Beyonce. And the first one that I saw was Formation.
That was my first Beyonce concert too.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's indescribable. And then like the next one I saw was her with Jay-Z, and it was so nice. She let her husband come with her on her tour. Calling it like this coat. I'm like, it's not a dual tour. You're seeing Beyonce featuring. But I mean, Formation was like the one to go to, because you'd have that big rectangle screen thing, and then it would move around. It was back when, like, you know, when the song Formation was like had just come out, and they would do the dance and the hats, everything. It was amazing.
It was epic. Yes, absolutely.
It was. That was a beautiful time.
Yeah. And did you go to the North Carolina show? I'm guessing, or
yeah, I did. I went to the one in Raleigh that got rained out, so I actually didn't get to see her whole concert the first time.
Oh, no.
Because you know, she's such a huge artist. She can't just go to a regular auditorium. She was selling out football stadiums.
Right.
And the one that she sold out in Raleigh was not a covered stadium, and so it started to rain closer to the end. We didn't miss like a whole lot. We missed like the Freedom song where she's dancing around in the water.
She could have did that, no.
Yeah. Well, she did. I think there was lightning too, so you know they can't stay out lightning or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was so cool to be there. I think I lived in Winston-Salem at the time, and I literally drove to Raleigh like an hour and a half, and then drove back that same night. I think I had an exam that weekend too, but I was like, it's Beyonce. I'm gonna see Beyonce.
Yes, it's always a good reason to do anything.
Yes, absolutely. She's an incredible performer, great singer, makes great music, stand-up person about her community. What's not to love?
It's nothing. There's nothing not to love.
Exactly.
That may be your husband. No.
Will deserve comment.
Do you have a favorite Beyonce song? I know it's hard. That was a hard question.
It's hard to say because, you know, Beyonce, she's one of those people that her music, she's had such a long, successful career. Yeah. There are different songs of hers that just take me back.
That's true.
At the time in my life, like obviously, Formation is super high up there.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole album itself, especially it being a visual album, and you know, it felt like a documentary when you were watching it. I used to seriously, I would just watch it and listen to it on repeat over and over for weeks.
Yeah,
probably. I know so much about that film. So Formation's definitely up there. But I also used to listen to Videophone and Diva. I remember when I was in high school, I was captain of my cheer team, and I would make up cheer dances a lot. For our like halftime performances, and like I remember making up songs to Diva, and it was awesome. It was a good time. That was a good time for us, me and Beyonce. But then, like, you know, I think it was it 4? No, it wasn't 4. I think it was her Beyonce album, like her self-titled album.
Oh, right.
That came out when I was in law school. It was the one with
2013. Yeah, self-titled.
Yeah, that one. I remember I was like in the middle of law school exams. And all of a sudden, I can't remember if I was on Instagram and I just like saw that she came out with an album, or if I was just happened to be scrolling on iTunes and I was like, there's a Beyonce album.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It was like a surprise. She was like, "Here's music. You're welcome."
Right.
And nobody knew.
There you
She
go.
just surprised everybody. It's like, and now that's like a thing. I feel like there are so many artists who've done it. Drake's done that now.
Mhm.
Like, but not every artist can do that. Like Beyonce is one of the few people who can.
Yeah.
And wow, like Drunken Love. Well, actually, I wasn't. I can't say that I have such as fond feelings for Drunken Love. I think probably because I was in the middle of law school exams and very stressed when it came out.
Probably associated with.
Yeah, I kind of associated with that, but for sure, her like Formation is definitely a favorite, and then like Video Phone and Diva favorites.
Yeah.
Just like the way she makes us feel, and like you feel so empowered listening to that music.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's Drunken Love took a while to grow on me too, so I totally get that.
Which one?
Drunken Love also.
Yeah. Although I mean, I liked like the video was cool. Her performances that she did.
Oh yeah.
Cool. It's just like it's not the same as Formation.
Yeah, no, Formation is great too. I mean, there's so many, like you said. What else do you stand?
Besides Beyonce?
Yeah. Or who else? What else? It could be anything. Or what else are you watching right now?
I like talking about Beyonce so much. It's like the first and only thing that ever comes up. I would say Beyonce and Scandal. Like when it comes to entertainment, I'm like all about women. I'm all about women of color too. And Scandal I loved because you had a strong female lead who was a Black woman, and I loved that Shonda Rhimes took on different topics that needed to be discussed. And when you had those topics discussed, they were coming from the mouth of a Black woman. And, she's not this woman who, inherited her future. She's somebody who actually did work very hard to get where she was going. I mean, she went to incredible schools. She surrounded herself with strong people. I mean, given she did go to private schools and everything, she was younger, but still, she built this company herself, and people brought her on their teams, not because they liked her, but because she was good at her job. It's something that she reinforced throughout the series. So Scandal, I would say, is definitely another thing that I stand. Have you watched it?
Yes, I was addicted to GTIT. I love Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder. That whole lineup was just so good. It was such an era. I feel like it was so good.
Well, whenever it was TGIT, I was always excited for Scandal, but like I never did like the Grey's Anatomy or the How to Get Away with Murder. I think because I don't really like medical shows because like they get a little gory.
That's true. Yeah.
Not about the gore. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then How to Get Away with Murder. I think because I was in law school and like series, they have to make things look really cool, but then sometimes they're not like actually accurate when it comes to how real life is. And so I think it lost a little bit of its glimmer there for me. But I was rewatching it like literally 2 days ago.
It's so good. Yeah. No, I stopped watching Grey's Anatomy at some point, but I get How to Get Away with Murder though, because I have some friends who are lawyers, and they were like, I can't watch this show with you. Like this isn't like, that's not what happens. That's not how that class is. They should all be failing. So
exactly. It's like we don't do that. What?
But they were also all failing. So at least that was real, because like they were just doing so much stuff and not studying, trying to get away with murder. So
right.
So they failed their classes.
Yeah, but I think that's what spoiled it for me. And I don't know why it bothered me so much, because like there are other series like Law and Order or Law and Order SVU, and you see moments that would never happen. Like the cross-examinations that some of these people do, or the direct examinations that they would do in court, screaming at each other, last-minute evidence being thrown in, like everything in those shows is so inaccurate. But for some reason, I'm okay with that. It's just maybe it's because like it's one of those shows that you watch when you were a kid, and so you just sort of accept it. But like now I'm grown, and like I see How to Get Away with Murder. I'm like, this is not true. So I think that part I couldn't get past.
I was wondering that too, because I'm like, maybe you watched that before law school, so you kind of just like have accepted it.
And I think that's probably part of why, especially because like, if you watch it before, what really happens in real life, you just start to like the characters themselves. And start to like look for them. Like Mariska Hargitay, how could you not like look for her? And like, her and like Detective Stabler together.
It's so many feels. Um, and what advice do you have for someone who wants to get into pageantry and become the next Miss USA, or become an attorney, which is both very large things, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they are both big things, but
mm-hmm.
I think there are a lot of similarities
Mm-hmm.
there, because for the courtroom, for example, if you're a litigator, let's say, you're walking into a courtroom knowing very little about the judge who you need to appeal to, and somehow you need to make a better case than somebody sitting across the way opposing counsel. And I think that's similar to competing in a pageant, in that you don't know very much about the judges. I mean, I think we found out who the judges were like a few days before we competed. So you just have, a very limited amount of time to like Google them and, I don't know, make your own assumptions about what they want to hear. And then somehow you have to stand out against, amidst 50 other people, not always knowing what arguments they're going to present in front of those same pageant judges. So I think there is some overlap there. But my advice would be, number one, learn, I think confidence is a difficult trait to attain. It really is. I think it's like one of those things that it's not like a destination, it's sort of a journey. It really is. And I think confidence is important in any aspect of life, in any industry, in pageantry for sure, but also in the legal industry. One of the books that the president of the Miss Universe organization, Paula Shugart, recommends is The Confidence Code. And I highly recommend it to anybody who's listening, because it was just an incredible book. And I think there are so many books that are tailored for and catered to women that end up touching on confidence. I mean, Facebook's CEO, not CEO, I think she was a CFO, Sheryl Sandberg, who wrote Lean In.
COO. Yeah.
COO? Okay,
So.
COO. She was an executive. She was in the house. She was in the C-suite. She's up there.
She's up there, yeah.
Sheryl. So Sheryl Sandberg, Lean In, touches on, the idea of confidence. Ebony K. Williams, one of my judges from North Carolina, USA, and an attorney and correspondent, host. She wrote a book called Pretty Powerful. She touches on, confidence and tokenism. But it's one of those things that women many times lack when we, compare ourselves to men. There's like a study that I had never heard of until I read the Confidence Code, that I think it was like Xerox or something held, where they measured the amount of competency men and women thought they had, like, skills that they had for a particular job position, an internal job position. And women would apply for a job when they felt that they met 100% of the, qualifications or traits necessary for the job. Men would apply when they met 60%. So clearly, there's a difference between men and women. And when we feel like we should even give ourselves the chance for progress or advancement. And there's so much more information, so many more studies in the Confidence Code that I think people really need to learn and hear about. So I highly recommend that. And my advice would be, learn what confidence really is. Learn how to, get some yourself, because you're going to stand out in a pageant and in the courtroom if you have confidence.
Yeah, that makes all the sense.
Good.
And then I don't know if you remember, so in the 90s, Sailor Moon, at the end of every episode, she would have like a Sailor Moon says phrase, where she would kind of like give a PSA to kind of sum up the episode and kind of just like give advice. So if you had a Sailor Moon says phrase, like Sailor Cheslie says, what would it be?
It would be, especially given, the environment we're in right now, my phrase would be speak up. There's so much going on right now, and so many people are lending their voices to the discussion, and we need all of us to contribute to what's happening today, speaking up in our communities and calling out, wrongdoing when we see it, no matter who is doing it, no matter if we see it from civilians or from public officials or from police officers. We need to make sure that we are speaking up and ensuring that we have a safer and more equal and inclusive society. I think that will only happen once each of us take on the responsibility of speaking up for ourselves, speaking out against wrongdoing, and speaking up for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one.
Thank you.
So true in these times.
It is.
Yeah. And what's next for you, and where can people find you?
They can find me on TikTok. Like every time I've done something, like follow me on TikTok. I'm really trying to increase my TikTok game. But
Okay.
I'm on like all the social media platforms at Cheslie Kryst. I'm on Instagram, like I said, TikTok. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. You can find me there. But what's next for me is, one of the opportunities that opened up for me after I became Miss USA was, my work as a correspondent with the entertainment news show Extra TV.
Right.
And so when I crown the next Miss USA, I will continue my work with Extra. I signed a full-time deal. I'm so excited.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm like apartment hunting. I'm a New Yorker now. I might get a fee or something soon. So that's really what is next for me. It's continuing my work in the entertainment industry and exploring what else I can do, sort of measuring how far I can go and, what boundaries I can push while I'm here is my next step.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I am right down the street.
How are you? Where?
Yeah. Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Oh my gosh, beautiful place.
Yeah.
I think the only time that a couple times I've been to like sort of downtown Brooklyn area. We went recently for the VMAs that were being held in several different locations around New York. They were like filming a bunch, but like there was the Barclays Center, and there was like a bunch of signage for the VMAs. We went back to Brooklyn. Then it's a great place, but our offices are closer to Times Square, so I'll be finding a place, or I found a place. God willing, it goes through here in Manhattan. But it's cool. It's cool to call myself like, a New Yorker now.
Yeah, congrats. Yeah, it's a fun city, so I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And also, you mentioned your TikTok, so I have to ask you, which TikTok video that you made are you the most proud of?
Oh, okay. So I have one TikTok video that has like 3.5 million views on it. Ooh. And it was just like a trend that people were doing. There's this music playing in the background, and it's like different people running across the screen, showing different things that are happening in one particular moment. So my moment that I was describing was winning Miss USA and all the things that happened afterwards. And so I showed like, my mom being confused from my sister because there were so many pictures of us together, and people were like, "This is your sister?" I'm like, "No, it's my mom." There were like celebrities like DMing me. There were like people throwing like hate comments, but then there were other people who were so excited that we had like at that point in time 3 queens of color that ended up being 5 queens of color later. So like I put that into a TikTok. I think I posted it probably a couple months ago. That one's my favorite.
Nice. That sounds awesome. We'll definitely throw it in the comments for anyone who wants to check it out. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And shout out to all those Sailor Moon enthusiasts. You guys, this is a great, great series to be a fan of.
Yeah, it really is. And once again, I'm Victoria L. Johnson. And you can find me at Miss Old School. That's Old School with a K on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find the podcast at Moonies Club on Twitter and Moonies_Club on Instagram. And thanks, Cheslie.
Yeah.